Hello everyone and welcome to another video. My name is Femke from Fame to the Fiction on Instagram and today I am here with my December wrap-up. So I didn't read too many books this month. I read like 9 books and a novella. It was a weird month. I read a few books that I really loved. I DNF'd a book, which I don't do quite often. Let's just get into the books and I will talk about my feelings about them. The first book I read this month was The Heart of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson, which is the second book in the Remnant Chronicles after The Kiss of Deception. I loved this book. This was such an amazing book and I just loved how much it made me feel. Because that is generally when I love books the most, when they make me feel, when they make me laugh and cry and just feel for the characters, and this book did that wonderfully. And I just loved the new setting that we got as opposed to the one we had in The Kiss of Deception, and I just loved how much more depth the characters got, and this was overall just one of the best books I read in the past year. And I cannot wait to read The Beauty of Darkness. I was not able to read it before the new year started, but I will definitely read it soon. The next book that I read was Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. Originally, I did not intend to read it as soon to the release date as I did. I mean, obviously, it was still about 1.5 months after release, but the hype had mostly died down for me. But while I read this, I was definitely hyped again. While I read this, I really loved it. Maybe not loved it as much as like Air of Fire, for example, but I did think this was a well enough ending. But then I watched the Lord of the Rings movies the next day, and there were just so many similarities. It blew my mind. And that just really took down the enjoyment for me, because now I cannot think back about this book without thinking about Lord of the Rings as well, and how obviously some things were just stolen from Lord of the Rings. Maybe what I am most surprised by is that not a lot of people seem to notice that, because I've only seen a few people talk about that. In the end I gave it like 3.5 stars. At first I gave it 4.5, 5, but I just took it down to 3.5 because I just felt with so many things taken over from Lord of the Rings, I just could not justify a higher rating for me. Then the next, 5 books and a novella was the Royals series by Aaron Watt, which consists of Paper Princess, Broken Prince, Twisted Palace, Tarnished Crown, Fallen Heir, and Cracked Kingdom, if I am correct. As always, I absolutely love the first 2 books. Those are both 5-star reads for me. I quite like the third book, which is like a 4-star read. I kind of liked the novella, which was 3 stars, 3.5. And then we got to these 2. I read these both for the first time. And just everything that I loved about Paper Princess and Broken Prince, I just hated in these books. Just characters were acting very out of characters, and there were things revealed. I'm not going to talk about that because spoilers, obviously. There were things revealed that I was just like, why did you have to do this? Because it ruins the entire story for me. And it even got so bad that I DNF'd the final book. And if you know me, I don't DNF often. So if you get me to DNF a book, I think you messed up. But yeah, I'm just going to pretend those final 2 books in the series did not happen. And maybe we'll live happily ever after. Who knows? The next book that I read this month was, again, a very good book, and that was All the Wandering Light by Heather Fawcett, which is the second book in the Even the Darkest Stars duology. I think this was a very worthy conclusion to this series. I do think I love the first book just a little bit more than this one, and that's mostly because I feel the ending was a bit too rushed, and though I still had some questions, things weren't wrapped up as nicely as I wanted to. But overall, I am very content with this ending. And I really cannot wait to read more by Heather Fawcett, and I just hope she returns to this world. And that we get to explore more of the mythology and lore, and more of the characters, and just all of it. Although I really don't like Lucia. I still don't. I didn't like her in the first book, and I didn't like her in this book. And I just hope we don't get a book about her. That would be sad. And then the final book that I read this month was A Thousand Beginnings and Endings, which was edited by Ellen Oh and Elsie Chapman. This is an anthology with 15 retellings of Asian myths and stories written by authors such as Renee Ahdieh, Roshni Chokshi, Melissa de la Cruz, Julie Kagawa, lots of known authors. Overall, this book left me a bit disappointed. There were a few stories in there that I really loved and that I would have just liked to keep reading in. And there were also definitely quite a few that I did not connect to or did not like the story or the writing style. Overall, I did find it a bit hard to get into this book because you have a new story every so many pages, which takes some getting used to. I did like that it took Asian myths and retellings. I rated this just by rating every single story and then dividing, then just adding those numbers to each other and then dividing it by 15. And then we got to a 3.4, 3.3, 3.4 rating. So, I mean, overall that's not too bad, I guess, but I expected more of this. And I can't even really tell you in what sense, but I just expected more. Those were all the books that I read for December. If there are any books that you've also read, let me know down in the comments what you thought of them. And please give it a thumbs up if you like this video. Please hit subscribe if you want to see more of our videos and hit the bell icon if you also want to be notified. I want to thank you again for watching and I will see you next time. Bye!